For 75 years, Argonne National Laboratory has accelerated the science and technology that drive U.S. security and prosperity. To celebrate, we're capturing the stories of the people who've made it happen. This is Argonne Voices. Jatia Hart is a nuclear engineer and the program initiator for Women in Science and Technology, also known as WIST, which is one of the lab's many employee resource groups. Her good friend, Amanda Joyce, is a cybersecurity expert who runs the Department of Energy's annual CyberForce Competition. Together, they've battled through gender discrimination and personal health challenges, inspiring young women to follow in their footsteps.
So Amanda, tell me about your introduction to computer science in college. And I heard a story that you accidentally signed up for the wrong class.
I did. So I completed my required classes for accounting. And so instead of wasting my time with a basket weaving class, what I thought I had signed up for was some introduction to computers, just a business administration type class. And it ended up being an information security class. And after the first couple minutes in this class, I totally realized I was way out of my element. And the teacher could totally tell. And I still credit him to this day for why I'm here. He looked at me and said, "You just seem so out of place. I totally understand if you want to drop the class." And I took that as a challenge instead to prove him wrong. And he became one of my biggest advocates after that because I just made a point to prove him wrong, that I was not going to give up just because I was in way over my head. And so it entirely was by pure accident that I fell into this type of role. So then tell me how you decided to go into nuclear engineering.
So I got into nuclear engineering also by accident, and also as a challenge. So I grew up watching this show called Melrose Place. And so I saw this woman on Melrose Place, and she wore suits and she fired people and she was in charge and she had to make tough decisions. And so I was like, okay, I like her, so I'll do what she's doing. And she was in business. Even though I was really good at math and science. And then my mom basically said, hey, if you go into engineering, I'll buy you a car. And so I was like, okay, that was enough. And I then got into nuclear because I was in Navy ROTC. And during your summers, they have, summer experiences where they take you and do a lot of cool stuff. So one of the things we did is we went on a submarine. And the submarine, we were asking questions and we were standing between two huge missile silos. Oh, I was like, well, what's in this big tube? They were like, weapons. I was like, what kind of weapons? And they said nuclear. And I was like, oh, that is really dangerous. And I was like, but who is, watching this stuff? And they were like, well, the people who drive the boat and, build the weapons are nuclear engineers. And I was like, well, then that's what I want to be. And I wanted to do that in the Navy. And they told me that they didn't allow women to do that. So I said, oh, okay, that's great. I got out of Navy ROTC and I went to graduate school to be a nuclear engineer and to also make sure it was a national security application, because I was like, okay, well, if I can't do it this way, I'll just become your boss and tell you what to do. So I feel like your story is kind of like my story. It's like, how dare you tell me I can't do it? I decide, what I can and can't do, not you.
Isn't that how we always end up? If you tell me no, then I'll just go above you and I'll just end up being your boss.
Right. I do want to ask you a little bit more about CyberForce.
The unique thing that I love about CyberForce is that you get to, one, have students come to the labs, understand what national labs are. Because I'll be honest, before I got to Argonne, I didn't know what Argonne was. I went to school just down the street. I had zero idea that Argonne was a thing. But so now we can open the doors to the young people that need to come in to build the pipeline for the next generation of our science. And so CyberForce is just that way of being able to interact and get to meet and actually see people. And it's fun. It's a competition. I love this competition like I breathe it every day. So then I have a question for you. So you're obviously the Women in Science and Technology program initiator. We do a ton of outreach. So what is it about outreach and mentorship that sticks with you?
I'll tell you what kind of drives my outreach and mentorship is that, and especially for women and African Americans, I was so lost at the beginning of my career. And I feel like you cannot have a good career unless you have somebody helping you. I mean, that's the point blank period. In my career, I feel like a lot of people didn't identify with me because most of the people we work with are white males. And so I didn't have anybody that I could ask like the embarrassing questions or, who would take me aside. And really, my outreach and mentorship is, I'm trying to be that for other people so that they don't have to struggle the way that I did. Wonder if, should I wear this? I mean, because it matters. You're a woman, it matters what you wear. If you were a guy, you could just, wear whatever and sell it. And I don't know, I guess I didn't feel like I had anybody to go to like that for a very long time. And I just had to, do trial and error and figure it out. So that's what drives me. I want to make it easier for people who look like me, African American women, people who just don't fit in, to have a fair shot at a successful career in STEM.
See, I love it.
Not only do we do a lot of outreach, but we have a lot of female leaders. And I feel like that's connected. We actually have a female division director and a female deputy division director. And I think we have maybe 10 people in our leadership team or so. And we have 4 of them are female.
I think we're actually almost 50-50.
And that's almost unheard of, to have more people in the leadership team be female than male, especially in a field like security. We have leadership who the other female staff can learn from and grow from. So you straighten your hair now, right?
Well, now it's curly, but it never was before.
Okay. So I just remember, I think I was across from you at a meeting and I could not take my eyes off of your curls. I was paying attention to the meeting, but when there were lulls, the curls, I was back to the curls. So your hair was straight and then it got curly? What's going on?
So my hair's been straight my entire life. Back in 2017, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I lost all my hair, and chemo makes your hair get curly. So funny thing, and I swear it's like karma. Growing up, I always wanted to get a perm. So can you imagine me with a perm? But it was the cool thing back in the 90s. And here, lo and behold, 2018 rolls around. My hair's finally growing back. It is nothing but curls. And I don't even know what to do with this hair. And so I'm glad to see that someone appreciated the curls. There was definite days that I woke up and I was like, maybe I should just shave it again because I don't even know what to do with it.
Well, I never would have known that your curls came from chemo. I mean, I'm sorry that you had to go through chemo just to get a perm, but you take the good with the bad. And so just know you probably thought, you looked not your best, but I was certainly loving them.
It was difficult. I had a 2-year-old at home at that time. I had a massive surgery. I was going through chemo. I was still working full time. And I was very much trying hard to not take days off because I didn't want to look like I was incapable of being able to handle it all. So my longest stint out was just for my surgery. And then every time I went in for chemo, I was back the next Monday after that Friday.
Girl, that is crazy. That is crazy.
But my colleagues here were amazing. They put together a care package for me before I left. And then on my day after my surgery, I had a group of 3 guys in my hospital room just to ensure I was okay. I mean, you don't get that everywhere. You don't get that family vibe from every place you work. And then every time I went to chemo, I had a different person from my team that went with me. I didn't even let my husband go with me other than the first time.
I want to say thank you for sharing with me. I think I knew you when you came back. I met you when you came back and we're getting over all of that. But I'm glad to hear that our coworkers were there for you.
Argonne Voices is an oral history project recording the stories behind decades of world-changing science at the laboratory. To learn more about Argonne's 75th anniversary, visit anl.gov.